Hey, we're back. Today we're going to be doing a small video on how to install the CCM modular fittings that they have come out with. And you're kind of seeing a pile of stuff in front of you, so let's kind of go through it here. What we're going to be doing is installing one of these modular fittings on this regulator right here, which as you can see has a pretty standard nickel-plated brass industry standard, fitting. This one already has one installed, and I want to kind of show you the advantages that you get with a CCM fitting. As you can see, it's way tighter to the body. This fitting is here, and this fitting here you can adjust with a wrench. Take it off the gun and adjust it slightly, back and forth and things like that, and it's hard to do, as you saw me just struggling with. This can be adjusted as well, but very simply with a 3/32 wrench. You just loosen that up a little bit, put it right where you want it, hold it in place, and tighten it down, and you've got whatever adjustment, whatever swing you want to do. So when I'm running mine on the side of a gun, let's just assume this is on the side of the gun, and the line is running down towards your ASA, I'll cant that back a little bit. When it's running underneath my grip frame, I'll run that straight down. And there's no problem with running that. Note the gap here in this fitting at this point. I'll bring it a little bit closer so you can notice this gap. You're going to want about that gap when you put it together. You can actually tighten down this portion that we had to put on first so much that not only do you cause a leak, but you'll push the fitting against the body. So keep that sort of distance in mind, and make sure we're going to be trying to achieve that today when we install it. Okay. Here's what you're going to get in your kit when you order these fittings. You're going to get 2 full sets of fittings, and you're going to get some extra O-rings here. Okay. So this is a fitting that's been assembled off the gun. This is a fitting that I've disassembled, bar 1 O-ring. Okay. Well, actually 2 O-rings. And here are extra O-rings that you're going to get in the kit. And some people can be a little bit confused by all of this, but you shouldn't be, okay? What you need to pay attention to here, what's important here, is that Chipley's going to send you a couple of O-rings that can be dropped in to the this little aluminum housing and put in place. I always like to tap it in place with a little bit of macro line. And then this collet then just gets pushed on top of it, very simply. That's assembled now, and should be able to hold macro line, which it does. However, some of the early fittings had a little bit of leaks. So what Chipley's doing now is they're giving you a few different O-rings to go with, so that you can either have a looser fitting O-ring on your macro line, or a little bit of a tighter fitting O-ring on your macro line. So don't be confused by multiple O-rings in a box or in the bag, because they're giving you choices and able to tune up your fittings to whatever macro line that you're using. They're also going to give you replacement O-rings for this stud and this Allen key or Allen screw. Okay, so let's show you how these go together off gun, and I'll show you how to put it together on gun. You saw me put this part together. That has an O-ring on the inside. It's just a simple barrel. Drop the O-ring in, put the collet on there. That collet's just the thing that when it gasses up, it seals and grabs your macro line fitting like that. It also, the air is pushing that O-ring against this collet and against the body of this and sealing it, okay? To get it off, you've got to just simply push the collet in and pull out, so that your fingers hold this down, and then these 3 fingers pull back on the macro line. And I know that might seem like elementary stuff, but for those of you that are dealing with macro line, if you're coming from braided, that might be something that you need to learn. So I want to make sure I go through it. This portion will then screw onto whatever thing you're using, the ASA or whatever. This part will go over it, okay? And then this screw tightens down on top of it and locks everything in place. So that's exactly what we're going to be doing today. And it comes apart just, reverse. It's not any rocket science, not brain science, as Bob Long would say. So let's put it together. first of all, let's take this part off, and we want to make sure that we don't mar anything, okay? So be careful. I am just using a spanner here, crescent wrench. Be careful when you're doing this sort of work that you don't mar the anodizing. No one likes the look of that. I hate when I see used markers for sale that it looks like someone just took a monkey wrench to. You know, it's like, man, you paid $700, $600, $500, even $400 for that gun, and you couldn't take the time to put a fitting on right, you know? Drives me nuts. Anyway, now, here is one of the dangers of using thread tape. Thread tape's a great thing. It'll seal right away and doesn't need to dry. But you notice these little pieces here? This matters a lot less for a pump gun than it does for an electro. So if you're buying a CCM fittings just because you want it to be anodized and match your gun, I don't know what application you use this for, and I'm not going to assume that this is just all going to be for pumps out there. If you're buying this for an electro, so look at all this crud I'm getting out, and that loves to get in solenoids. A good friend of mine used to be a head tech for Bob Long, traveled with him for many, many years, and you know, they take apart a solenoid and just all of this crud would come out, and you know, they'd have to replace a solenoid for it. So it's not worth it. Use Loctite. Use blue Loctite, a couple of drops on there, and put it around, and you'll be a lot more happy with the results, especially if you're using electro. Now, if you're using, you see how much that crap, it's just like, it's everywhere. If you're using a pump, it's not nearly as important. So, and for today's purposes, I'll be using thread tape because I don't want to wait around for it time to dry, okay? Now, what you can do then, when you do use thread tape, now that I've warned you not to ever use it, you need to wrap this on. Don't wrap it on like it screws on. You want to wrap it on backwards, actually. And it's just one wrap around is enough. You don't need to go crazy. Why backwards? So you want that to go with the threads when you're threading this on to the body. You don't want it to be against the threads or it tears the Teflon tape apart as it gets put on. So we just about have this tight, and I'm going to check the depth. I'll let you guys see that. See, we still got a little bit of room there. We're still a little far away, and it's good because we're snugging down. So that means I can go an arbitrary distance in and still get a good seal. Okay? It doesn't matter if this thing is super, hand of God, hand of Thor tight. What matters is it's in the right position for you. That's the cool thing about the Chipley fittings. The other fittings that I took off, you gotta tighten it down until you get it right. So this is just arbitrary as long as it seals. So we just about have a good distance here. Maybe another half turn. Don't round that off. Tighten down your crescent wrench before you do anything. Okay, and that's plenty tight in terms, yeah, we're good, man. See how that works? So, I'll just keep on rocking that to make sure you guys see it. Yeah, you got it. All right, so we're a good distance there. Now, what I want to do is add a little bit of hater sauce to this O-ring right here. And I'm kind of gooming it on just because it doesn't matter. Okay? I gotta dry my hand off here, and I can always dry off a little bit of that. But I want that O-ring to swell just a little bit and seal nicely. I don't want to take these fittings on and off a ton. I don't. I want it to be one and done, Now, before I go ahead and put in this piece, I'm going to take this O-ring back out because I want to slob it up with a little bit of marmalade too. That's a technical term. Slob it. Used in other industries, but it can be used in paintball as well. It means something completely different in other industries, and you usually have to pay a lot more. But okay, so that's going back in. And then frankly, when I'm going to put my macro line in for the first time, I'm going to put it on the end of this too. I want to get on the inside of the O-ring. That's going to go right in then and seal up for me. So I know the O-ring in there has got some good seal on it, or it's got at least the potential for good seal. I put that on. That's now tight. It's bottoming out there, as you can see. Okay. And then I'm going to put, yeah, what a shucker, a little bit of marmalade. And if you want to go back to the tools of the trade videos that I've got under this channel, this YouTube channel, that's fine too. And you can use different stuff. You know, you don't have to use hater sauce. I'm not sponsored by it. I might get paid for it. It just works for me. You know, Dow 33 would work in this application. Dow 55 would work in this application. Then I'm going to snug that right up. Okay. Now, let's see if we got a good seal the first time around. We might not. I don't know. We're doing this live. Well, not really live, but at least we're doing it as live as we can. I need a tank. We're going to test that on a Series 6.5 here in a minute. Got my reg tester here. That's under tools of the trade as well. Look for that video. Slide that in. Hopefully, let's see if we get a good seal. Yes, we do. And our reg is at 300 PSI, right around there. So this rig is ready to be used, man. It's ready to be used, and the Chipley fitting did exactly what we wanted it to do right out of the box, which is what Chipley's known for. So that is that. And let me show you the application on gun. Now, I'll use the fitting that I had next to it simply because this is the one that I took off my Series 6.5. So I put that right underneath. I want to make sure this seats well and it kind of pops. This always tends to get a little bit moved when I take this apart. So I give that a little bit of a turn. I want to make sure I'm in screen here. Give that a little bit of a turn here and tighten that down. All right. And that's what it looks like on gun. So you can tell the difference just of the looks, man. You know, you can get these different colors from Chipley. You match your anno when you order the gun, and it just makes it look pretty hot. Now let's see if that's sealed up. You know, again, we're live, so let's see if Chipley holds up to what it says it does, you know. Always pump the marker. Yeah, I got seals. My microphone is right up here, so let's see if we can hear it. I don't hear it. She's good to go, baby. Proof that there's air in it. So that's it for the Chipley fittings. There's no reason to be afraid of these. There's no reason to not to worry about them. And especially, you know, because they're modular, they can be worked on at the field. You know, keep your O-rings on you. If you get a problem, put the smaller O-ring in or replace that O-ring. Those are dirt cheap. You can find them at hardware stores and easy to replace. So that's it for the Chipley modular fittings. Thanks for watching.